And welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. Now, did you know that Francis Ngannou's punch is equivalent to 93 horsepower, more than a smart car? He holds the unofficial record for the hardest punch ever. So, anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Bob Fan 101, with my good friend and co-host Christian, aka C Will.
What's up, guys? Hope you're all having a good week and enjoyed your weekend.
Yes. So let's get started with talking about some news. We are going to start off with the UFC, as UFC 270 was last night at the time of recording this, January 22nd. So I know, Christian, you probably didn't watch it because you're not that big of a fighting fan.
Well, I watch boxing sometimes. And UFC a little bit, but I honestly had no clue that there was a UFC event last night.
Got you. But yeah, I watched some of the card, pretty much all the main card. It was an interesting card. I was a little tired, so I couldn't really pay too much attention to the card and give like my full thoughts. But some of the fights, including the main, which was Francis Ngannou, who I mentioned earlier as the fact, and Cyril Gain, or however you pronounce his name, that was a pretty interesting fight. Ngannou won the fight by decision in the fifth round. It was really what UFC fans could expect. There was one really good fight in the bantamweight division. It was his first ever fight. I can't remember the guy's. Oh yeah, Victor. Victor Henry in the bantamweight division made his UFC debut, and he beat a seasoned veteran. And also the co-main event, Brandon Moreno versus Davis Figure something. I can't remember his actual name, but the other guy won, and it was a very close fight in my opinion. I thought personally it should have been a draw, or Moreno should have won the fight. So I think they really screwed up on the decision there, but it's okay because it was really close, so you couldn't really tell. But now let's get into sports that we are both into, the NFL. The divisional round was this past weekend. As we're recording this, like I said, we're going to kick it off with the first game, which was the Bengals and
The Titans.
Titans. Thank you. Sorry, I'm not thinking tonight. That was a pretty interesting game. I didn't really get a chance to watch it too much as I had to go to the store. And I watched the fourth quarter, though. That was a pretty interesting game. Tannehill kind of sold a little bit at the end with that, I guess, interception.
Tannehill steps forward, popped up in the air, intercepted! Logan Wilson's got it for Cincinnati with 20 seconds to play.
Call it. And they kind of screwed it over because they tried to give it to Derrick Henry, and the Bengals defense was just so dominant that they were able to stop Henry.
Handoff. Henry. He hesitated.
Which really shocked me. And then they won it on a game-winning field goal. The Bengals are going to their first division, or not division, their conference championship since 1988. And the record now holds for the longest drought of conference championship with the Browns, who went in 1989 for the last time. Evan McPherson hit a game-winning goal, or field goal, which you will see later.
Yeah, so congrats to the Bengals. I'm a Steelers fan, so I don't really pull for the Bengals much, but it was really cool to see them make it back to the AFC Championship, and I'm pulling for them to beat whoever wins the Chiefs and Bills game tonight. And it was honestly, I thought it was going to be more high scoring. I thought the Bengals were going to score at least 30 points on Tennessee. But Tennessee's defense did as good as they possibly could have, but Burrow still had another amazing game with like over 300 yards passing. But they ended up winning on a field goal by Evan McPherson, who's actually a really good kicker, and he's been doing a lot of trick shot field goals, even going back to his days at Florida. And he had the game-winning field goal to give them the 19-16 win. And yeah, like you said, Derrick Henry, I expected him to score at least twice, but he was stopped by the Bengals defense, and seemed like a lot of games this weekend were just low scoring and defensive tests.
I like that though. It wasn't really a blowout. So
for sure. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the other game that day on Saturday.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah. The other game was the Packers and the 49ers. And I think we all didn't expect the 49ers to win. We both picked Green Bay to win. And I was quite shocked that Green Bay couldn't put up at least 20 points and they allowed the 49ers to win like that. 49ers were pretty much out of it offensively. They just kept getting stopped. And it was 11 degrees. They were in good conditions. It was like sort of snowing, so they're not used to that in California. But they still ended up winning. They had that block punt, and it tied the game. And then they had that field goal by Robbie Gould to win it. So 49ers are like the Cinderella team right now in the NFL. No one expected them to be in the playoffs and to be back at this position, even though they were in the Super Bowl about 2 years ago against the Chiefs. Right. I was quite surprised to see 49ers be able to beat the Packers, who, Packers have been really good this year, and Aaron Rodgers has had another great season despite his age.
Right. The game in the first half went about as I expected. The Packers really held them. 49ers did a good job keeping it really low scoring, as I believe the score was like 16-10, 13-10.
It was 13-10.
Thank you. But yeah, so they did a really good job of keeping it close. The Packers special teams was embarrassing to let them get that block punt, especially in crunch time. There was like a few minutes left in the fourth, and they just blew it. And, people are blaming it on Rodgers, and people are happy that Rodgers lost because, for one, they think he's going to quit on his team, and for two, politics. So I personally am a Rodgers fan. I think he's a really good quarterback, and I wanted him to win the game. So it's unfortunate, but I don't think it was his fault. I think it was the special teams' fault, and just the fact that the Packers can't make it to the conference championship.
Yeah, it's quite crazy. I mean, Rodgers had another good game. He didn't have any passing touchdowns, which surprised me, but he did throw for 225 yards. And San Francisco did well running the ball. Mitchell, one of the runbacks, Evan Mitchell, if I'm correct, that's his first name, Evan, but he had 53 yards rushing. Deebo Samuel had a decent game, even though he got a little shaken up on a hit.
Deebo gets it. Samuel breaks a couple of tackles, doing it all. First down inside the 30. An amazing night continues at the end of an amazing season for Deebo Samuel. And he limps off.
Wow, but he got his job done. I mean, what toughness he's showing here at 3rd and 7, and to hand it off to Deebo Samuel, hoping that you pick up the first down. If you don't, then you're left with the decision. Do you trot out Robbie Gould? Do you try to go for it on 4th down? It was going to be a decision for Kyle Shanahan, and now they can run more time off this clock.
And yeah, they also had a blocked field goal of Mason Crosby earlier in the game as well. So special teams for the 49ers did a amazing job.
Yeah, they did. So the final score of the Bengals and Titans game was 19-16. Now let's go with the Rams and the Buccaneers. This game was pretty interesting, I would say. Mostly it was the Tampa Bay show. Well, not the Tampa Bay show, excuse me, the Rams show. They were doing really, surprising me, and then the Buccaneers, they came back in the second half a little bit, and I thought the game was going to go to overtime, but no, Matthew Stafford, he led them with another hurry-up offense drive and did really, really good job. I think they won it as well on a game-winning kick.
Knocking, puts it through, and the Rams.
So a lot of game-winning kicks this week. Overall, that was a pretty good game, and definitely another solid fourth quarter. I'm loving these nail-biting games.
Yeah, like the Rams, I was in the car driving today, and I was like, hey, Dad, what's the score of the game? And he's like, oh, the Rams are winning 23-3 or something like that. I'm like, what? Like, I was just surprised because I thought it would be a closer game. Even though I did pick the Rams to win, I was just like, man, we're blowing them out. And they're blowing them out. And I don't know why I said we're, because I'm not a Rams fan. regardless. But anyways, I know people are like, "Oh, bandwagon" in the chat or in the comments. But anyways, I was pulling for the Rams win because I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I'm tired of seeing him in the Super Bowl every year, and he's not this year, so yay. But but the Rams they ended up almost choking this game, and the Buccaneers came back via Tom Brady special. They just started coming back. Leonard Fournette had 2 touchdowns, and
Brady's going to hand it off. It's Fournette. He's going to take it to the end zone.
I was looking at the score. I'm like, oh no, we're about to see another Atlanta choke moment. Remember when the Falcons choked against the Patriots in that Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is going to happen again. But thankfully, the Rams held on and won 30-27. Matthew Stafford did have 2 touchdowns and 366 yards. And the Rams, I feel like the Rams can beat the 49ers for sure. They have played each other twice this season because they're in the same division in the NFC. So I do think the Rams will beat the 49ers, but it will definitely be a good game. And the Buccaneers, they go home. They had a good season. They did. They were 13-4, but I didn't think they were going to make it back to the Super Bowl, and they didn't.
Yeah, I don't know if I said this. I know I said it to Christian, but I don't know if I said it on recording. I picked the Packers to go to the Super Bowl, and that failed. Note to self, kids, don't pick the Packers to go to the Super Bowl any year. But yeah, I'm not surprised that the Rams went. It was really for me between the Rams, Buccaneers, and Packers, and the Rams went. The Rams were my pick early in the season, so I'll definitely pick the Rams to get past the 49ers. And this is going to be the first conference championship in the NFC without Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady in some time. So that's incredible. Maybe we could get Patrick Mahomes out too. Speaking of him, he's currently up with the Kansas City Chiefs 26-21. This has been so far an interesting game. I haven't really been able to watch too much of it as I am currently watching it while we're recording. But so far, it's looked pretty good. It's been back and forth, very close, like what we've been hoping for. So maybe it can keep that way.
Yeah. Right now, the Chiefs have the ball, or
no, the Bills have the ball. Allen just ran it.
Yeah, the Bills had the ball with like 2 minutes left. They're down by 5. So, I mean, Josh Allen so far is saying 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Davis has had 2 of the touchdown catches.
Have him come up on the inside, some of these guys. Allen fires it into wide open. Remarkable. Touchdown, Buffalo. Davis again. This is, it just is impossible. A strike. It was an incredible route. He made the corner fall down. Mike Hughes is out there, and they actually have people back, but this is why you chipped on the edge. Really smart call. You gave him time. Ingram, so you had all day, but watch the route up top. 13, right there, Davis. Oh, my goodness. And then he does the same thing that he did to the corner. Right up at the top. Right there. Slip. And again, no Tyrann Mathieu back there to defend. They're going for 2, of course.
But Mahomes, I don't know what his passing stats are at the moment, but I know he does have a rushing touchdown in this game.
Going against the best third down defense in the game. Mahomes, all kinds of time. Again, he's going to take off and succeed. Did he get the pylon? A little conference. Touchdown.
So we'll see if the Bills could try to come back and score here. I did pick the Chiefs to win this.
Yes, I did too. Mahomes passing is 23 for 31.
Okay.
So
not bad. Typical Mahomes.
Yeah, expected. So for my picks for the AFC, if Kansas City wins this game, actually, you know what? For either of these teams, I think this is going to be the end of the line for the Bengals, although I would like to see the Bengals go to the Super Bowl. I'm going with the winner of this game against the Bengals.
You know what? I'm going to do the complete opposite, Mike. I think the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. And I know it's kind of crazy and they don't have as much experience, but I think the Bengals are going to make it to the Super Bowl. And I think you're going to play the Rams.
Oh, I definitely think they're going to play the Rams, but I would love to see the Bengals, but I'm going to try to be somewhat realistic and try to go with the Chiefs, but the Bengals could do it. We'll see. They've had very good offense, very good defense, like a complete 180 from what they've been doing the last couple of years. So you got to respect the Bengals.
Yeah, the Bengals, after last season with Burrow having his injury and then to come back, their offense just on fire. The receivers, they have a lot of great receivers, and their defense has improved as well.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, basically we'll keep y'all updated throughout the video. Y'all probably watching it or have watched or found out the final score by now. But, we're going to keep an eye on this game. But let's go ahead and talk about the NBA, shall we?
Yes. The Pacers, there is actually NFL news if you want me to cover that.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, just some stuff.
Isn't the Pro Bowl next week or 2 weeks from now?
I am not sure, so I will put that on the screen here. Yeah, so all signs point to the Steelers starting Mason Rudolph next year at quarterback. Pretty expected. I mean, you're not going to start Haskins or a rookie, and Rudolph has known the system for a while, so that's to be expected.
Oh. The thing is with Rudolph, he's been here for a while, but at the same time, we don't know how well he's going to perform. He's done decent for us, but I don't know if we should start him. I think we should probably try to draft a quarterback just in case.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're not going to do any success with Haskins. I'm just going to be a realist there. Rudolph is decent. So, but yeah, I could see your point where, you could draft a quarterback, even if it's in like the later rounds, because obviously the Steelers made it to the playoffs. So yeah. Browns player Malik McDowell arrested for public exposure.
What?
I've covered a lot of arrests as we've done this show, and that has to be the weirdest one.
I don't know. Is this guy like drunk or something, or is he just like he's so sad that they couldn't make it farther this year that he just decides to get naked and run around everywhere? I don't know.
I think it's a mixture of both. Bengals placed defensive tackle Larry Ongenobi on IR, ending his season. Jerry Jones is frustrated with Amari Cooper's performance and for what he's being paid. Here's Jerry Jones' official quote. He says, Amari Cooper should take half the field with him when he runs a route. A whole bunch of that defense ought to honor Cooper. He ought to be able to catch it in the middle when they're going with him. Others do to people that are covered all the time. Jerry has a point. Amari Cooper is a pretty solid wide receiver. I'm not really sure his contract, but I know it's big. So I could understand his point in some aspect.
Yeah, same.
Next up, we got Bucks release Le'Veon Bell to make room for Leonard Fournette's return. That's to be expected.
He did return. He had the two touchdowns.
Leonard had a pretty solid outing today. He got the touchdown that many thought was going to seal the game, and then the Rams got the game-winning drive. He also had a nice one-handed catch earlier today. That was really good.
Little floater. Fournette makes the grab.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that was a nice play.
Steelers indicate that they will put Dwayne Haskins on a restricted free agent tender.
Oh, so he's going to be going into the dating pool or something? Tender? You know what I'm saying? Right. But anyways, I don't know about that move by Pittsburgh, but yeah, that's NFL news, I guess. Is there any more? Or?
No, that's it. So moving on to the NBA. The Pacers are seeking 2 first-round picks in exchange for Miles Turner. Turner will miss at least 2 weeks due to a left foot strain. So that's going to hurt them as they're already trying to rebuild, as that's why they are going to be trading Miles.
Well, first off, Miles Turner, he's a good center. It's just he's injury prone, like most of the Pacers are. and the injury will make his trade value less.
Right.
So the thing is, I kind of mentioned this, like, I think I mentioned this to you like earlier this week or sometime last week about how the Hornets should try to get Turner because we need a center.
You mentioned that in the last episode.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, the Turner, I think there's many teams he could go to. I think there's plenty of teams that will take him. It's just he needs to keep away from getting hurt.
Definitely.
Because he gets hurt way too often.
Right. Jalen Brunson is seeking a 4-year, $80 million contract. What? That's a complete overpay right there. I don't know what to say about that.
He's decent. He's a great backup point guard, but he's 80 million is just too much. And, I've talked to you about how much I think athletes should get paid. So, yeah, we know about that.
Yeah. James Harden is open to relocating in the offseason. Again, unloyalty right there. Well, then again, he stayed with the Rockets for a while, but still, I don't know why you would leave the Nets. Yes, they've been plagued with injury, but, he's got to realize they didn't have Kyrie Irving last year in the playoffs. He was hurt.
Yeah.
And Durant and Harden was hurt himself. The big three has not been able to play too much with each other because they're hurt. But when they have played with each other, obviously they're going to be scary. So if I was James, I would say,
like, oh yeah, that's what they say every year. Oh yeah, we're going to be the best team in the East. We have these 3 superstars, and then 2 of them gets hurt for almost the entire season. And
exactly.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Harden just needs to stay on one team. I mean, they have the chance. They have 3 superstars. They have a great bench. They have a good team and good roster and a great coach in Steve Nash. Why would you want to leave?
Right.
I just don't get it.
Right.
I
understand why he wanted to leave Houston, but not Brooklyn. I would not leave Brooklyn if I was James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
The Wizards are open to trading Montrezl Harrell. Listen, as a Wizards fan, I got to vent a little bit. This is a stupid – if they trade Montrezl Harrell, I don't know if this is like a real thing, but if they trade Montrezl Harrell for anything except for Domantas Sabonis, that is a stupid move. Harrell is producing a ton off the bench. He's been considered a candidate for 6th man of the year. He even could be considered like a 6th starter, like what a lot of people are saying. He's a perfect 6th man. And you just want to go ahead and waste that? Like, no. Harrell brings so much energy to the game. He's a fan favorite in DC. He brings the fans in the game, which I think you might have watched a couple of Wizards games when they played the Hornets. If you look closely, he'll dunk, and then he'll get the fans into it. Like, come on, guys! And he's a leader. You need more leaders besides Bradley Beal. So I completely disagree with that move, and I pray they will not trade him. Unless
you have
it's
a great point. Yeah, you have a great point. Like Harrell, I feel like Harrell's definitely doing way better than he did in LA. I think he's doing great with the Wizards, and for him to them to be open to trade him, and it's not even been a whole season. Like, I mean, are they delusional? I mean, it's ridiculous. And then they're like, oh yeah, we're going to trade him to get Sabonis. Well, you already have don't y'all have 3 centers and power forwards? Like there's Hachimura, there's what's his name, Gafford. Like y'all have
Gafford is a center. They got Denny Avdia, Davis Bertans, and Corey Kispert.
Exactly. Like y'all don't need Sabonis. Y'all need something else. Not that. That's just being honest.
Well, here's the thing. I like Domantas Sabonis. Obviously, he's a great player. He's a star player. I think their logic is that they need a 3rd star. And you can play Sabonis at the 4, and they need defense and a consistent shooter. Sabonis is a good shooter and a good defender. So I would love to see him start at the 4 and Kuzma at the 3 and trade somebody like Denny Avdia maybe, or even trade Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's not that good so far this year. Well, in this second half of the season, near the second half of the season, I should say.
Yeah, but where will Harrell go? Like, he'll be a backup.
Yeah, unless they trade Harrell, like I said. You can keep Harrell on the bench and start Gafford. And they need to give Gafford more minutes because he's their best defender in the paint. And they need that, and they only play him 11 minutes a game. But yet Davis Bertans and Denny Avdia get 20. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I understand.
You know,
Sorry,
the
go ahead.
Kings, they were also interested in Sabonis. The Kings are trying to make some moves. I know they weren't trying. They said they weren't going to trade De'Aaron Fox, but they were open to getting rid of Rashawn Holmes. Dude, Rashawn Holmes has been pretty decent for them over the past couple year. He's definitely improved. And they're trying to get Sabonis now, even though, the Kings, they have some decent big men, but they don't have any star big men. So I could see why the Kings are trying to get Sabonis.
Right. I would totally, if I was the Kings, I definitely would agree with that move. But what I was saying with the Wizards, they have 3 centers. I get that problem. You got to give them all playing time. And Montrezl Harrell is doing a great job of adjusting, like, okay, I'm going to be the 3rd center off the bench when Bryant comes on. But Davis Bertans sucks. He can't make a 3 for crap. He rarely makes a 3, I should say. He can't defend. Corey Kispert, he's a rookie. You can give him some minutes, but please take away all of Davis Bertans' minutes and give it to Daniel Gafford, because that Daniel Gafford can actually play. He can bounce, he can defend, and that's what they need. And to give Davis Bertans more minutes than the starting center, if you're not even going to give Daniel Gafford the time of day, just start Harrell or Bryant. I'll be fine with either of those. So that's ridiculous that they don't give their starting center that much.
Yep. Score update. Kansas City just scored a touchdown after the Bills scored one, and now they lead 32-29 with 1 minute to go.
Yes,
So,
this looks like a good finish.
yeah, Patrick Mahomes, a 64-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill. So, wow, they struck back quickly.
And they just hit the extra point, 33-29 Chiefs.
There's like a bunch of other trade rumors going on in the NBA. I know they have like a trade deadline coming up in February.
Yeah, February 10th.
So the Heat are for some reason trying to trade Duncan Robinson, which I think is a stupid idea. The Hawks are considering trading John Collins and Cam Reddish for Ben Simmons, which I think is stupid as well. Like, Ben Simmons is worse than Cam Reddish.
Well, the thing is, the Hawks are kind of stupid in that aspect, because if they're going to trade away Cam Reddish and John Collins, and then they would have gotten back Tobias Harris because they're trying to move him for James Harden, that's a fair deal. If you trade John Collins for Tobias Harris, they still get a solid power forward to replace Collins.
You see, Collins and Harris make sense because they're both like really good forwards, and they both, I think, are at the same level in a way. But personally, I want my boy Tobias Harris to stay in Philly because he's my favorite player. So please keep Tobias. Please, well, I'm begging you. I'm begging you, Philly. Do not get rid of my boy Tobias Harris. If they do, then I will literally be so mad.
Yeah, you're me, but with Montrezl Harrell. So yeah.
But Lonzo Ball for the Bulls, he had a meniscus tear, which it's crazy. The Bulls have had like a couple injuries, like Alex Caruso hurt his wrist.
Thanks, Grayson.
On a dirty play by Grayson Allen, and
for a moment, then DeSumu's got it. Hits the trailer. Caruso, and a hard foul on Grayson Allen as Caruso hits the deck. They'll look at this to see whether this is a flagrant, and if it's a flagrant, whether it's a 1 or a 2 on Grayson Allen.
Now Lonzo Ball's out, so the Bulls are in trouble.
I think they'll be fine because they looked really good against Milwaukee the other day. Even without Caruso or Ball, they still won the game. And let me just rant a little bit about this Grayson Allen play. If you haven't seen it, I probably put the clip up. Grayson Allen is one of the dirtiest basketball players I have ever seen. There's so many compilations of him being dirty and attitudinal. And I've watched this play a couple of times to try to see like where people are getting the point, like, okay, he didn't mean to foul him. The first part of it looked like a common foul and Caruso was just going to get 2 free throws. And then you see Allen trying to like go for his arm. I don't know if he was trying to go for the ball, because I've seen plays where they can get the ball out of midair, but it looked like he just grabbed his arm and tugged him down. And there was apparently a clip of him smiling on the bench, and he didn't even go up and check on him like George Hill did, but not Grayson Allen, the guy who did that. if that was me, I would try to help the guy up, make sure he was all good. And now the Bulls are screwed because Alex Caruso just broke his wrist or fractured his wrist. So Grayson Allen got suspended, I believe, 1 or 2 games. I think it should be a little more, but I'm glad the league did suspend him.
Yeah, I mean, Grayson Allen, I thought he changed. I thought he's changed, man. He was dirty in college, and, he had a little bit of things in the summer league, but I thought things were going all right for him. I mean, he did well against my 76ers, and he's hitting a bunch of threes and stuff, and all of a sudden, they play the Bulls, and the old Grayson Allen returns. At first, I thought it was clean. It looked like he was going for the ball. But after seeing his reaction towards it, like he acted like he had no sympathy for what he did. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, he probably did it on purpose. So I'm glad he got suspended. But yeah, I think the Bulls are going to drop. They are number 2. They were number 1 in the East. Now they're 2. I think that they're separated by like 4 games. To like the 6th position in the East. So I think the Bulls might drop to like maybe 6th or 7th in the next week or 2 if they keep losing.
Right.
I know the 76ers have moved up to 6 in the standings, Hornets 7. The Wizards have dropped to 10th, which is pretty sad to see. The Wizards were doing good, Mike, and then I don't know what happened, dude. They're 3 games in a row they've lost, and they moved to number 10.
Defense and crappy 3-point shooting. That is what's wrong with them. That's why we want Sabonis here.
Well, Sabonis isn't really a defensive player. He's more of an offensive player.
I've seen him do some good defensive plays, though.
I was going to say also the Phoenix Suns, they only have 9 losses this year. They're first in the West, so props to Phoenix. They're still holding off Golden State for the first spot. But my major shout out of the week in the NBA is the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies are now number 3 in the Western Conference.
Wow.
And they're only 5 games behind Phoenix. So big props to Memphis. They've definitely improved, and they are moved to number 3 in the West. So not a lot of changes though in the West, other than Sacramento dropped to number 12. But other than that, the West is pretty much the same. Same thing as the East, pretty much the same as last week.
Yeah. Memphis, a lot of people are calling them a sleeper team to go to the championship. I completely disagree. Yes, Memphis is a good team, and, it's a feel-good story to see them in the bottom of the West, and now they're at the top or near the top. But I still think that the Warriors and the Suns are going to be coming out of the West for the conference finals, and I think the Warriors are going to come out of the West in 7. One thing you did not mention was the Celtics traded for Bol, even though he has to get surgery on his foot and will be sidelined 8 to 12 weeks. But they traded him in a 3-team trade. Celtics received PJ Dozier as well. The Nuggets will get Bryn Forbes, and the Spurs will get Juan Hernan Gomez.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know about that trade. Bol, we kind of mentioned this last week. He has he apparently had some health problems, but I don't really know the whole situation, but hopefully he's doing better. But yeah, now he's having surgery, so he's going to be out for a minute.
Yes, and Paul Millsap and the Nets have agreed to part ways so Millsap can get a better role. The Nets, they're the second NBA retirement home with the Lakers, so I'm not really surprised with that. Yes, I stole Cam's joke. But yeah, Buffalo just hit at the extra point. They just scored a touchdown, I believe, 36-33. Fourth quarter, 13 seconds left.
Wow, so the Bills just struck right back again. Josh Allen with four touchdowns. Now they lead by 3 with 13 seconds left. Wow.
Oh, Reed looks shocked right now. Yeah, if Patrick Mahomes can't do something here, then Stephon Diggs is going to get his revenge.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. This game's definitely very close compared to the other games we've seen this weekend. Well, never mind. We've seen close games. I don't know what I'm thinking. We've had close games this weekend. And I thought that it was going to be over like earlier in the quarter. Now Bills are up front. So my bracket's about to get busted.
4th touchdown for Gabriel Davis. Impressive performance from him tonight.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns and all of them from Allen. So that's crazy.
But yeah, moving on to college basketball.
All right. Yeah, I was actually good. I have some NHL news too, but we'll get to college basketball first. There was a good bit of upsets this weekend in college basketball and some really good games. Probably the first thing we have to mention is Auburn versus Kentucky. Now, Auburn was number 2 in the country going up against number 12 Kentucky, and I knew it was going to be a good game. And I feel like Auburn going into this should have been at number 1 over Gonzaga, which I still believe that. Auburn, they sort of struggled in the first half of that game, but they came back and won 80-71 in a sold-out arena. And there's fans that are literally camping out before the game the day before. They're setting up tents outside the arena. So, I think Auburn deserves the number 1 spot on the poll this week. If they don't get the poll, then I know that they're biased to Gonzaga because Gonzaga is not even close to as near good as a deep schedule as Auburn does, and Gonzaga doesn't play hardly anybody that are good. So, I just think it's the system sort of biased with that in college football too. We've talked about that before, but
yeah,
one point that was really cool is Jacob Toppin doing a 360 dunk. I'm sure you've probably seen that already, Mike.
You'll see that later on, and I definitely think Auburn should have been number 1 for 2 weeks in a row. Gonzaga going number 1, that really surprises me because, like you said, they don't really play anybody. Yeah, they did kill UCLA, so I don't know if that's really their biggest opponent of the year because I don't follow Gonzaga's conference. But I think they should be around 2nd to 5th, not 1st.
Yeah, for sure. And another one of the biggest games of this past week was number 14 Michigan State against number 8 Wisconsin. 2 of my favorite college basketball teams and college football teams. And this was a good matchup going in. And Wisconsin was at home, but they lost by 12, 86-74. So with that, Michigan State moves to first place in the Big Ten. So props to the Spartans. There was a couple other good games like Maryland, Mike, they upset number 17 Illinois 81-65. So it's good to see Maryland doing decent in basketball, I guess. I mean, I know they struggled a little bit, but
they're still struggling.
Number 17 team in the country being them, that's pretty good right there.
Yeah, Illinois did not have Kofi Coburn or however you pronounce his name. Maryland played a pretty solid game. I'm a Maryland fan, so I definitely watched this game. But they played a pretty solid game. They're still struggling. So definitely, in my opinion, this has been the worst season to be a Maryland fan. So glad they did get the big win, though, and in that fashion, too.
Yeah. Now, the Big East had some decent games. I'll say Georgetown, they were 4-9, I think, and they're playing number 11 Villanova. And they led throughout most of that game on Saturday, but they ended up choking it away, and Villanova ended up winning. And also Marquette with the upset win against number 20 Xavier, 75-64. So that was an upset in the Big East. But the college basketball scores, some of the ones today, number 4 Purdue beat Northwestern. We expected that. Butler lost to Providence. Providence is actually number 21, and they only have 2 losses. I think Providence should be higher in the rankings after that. I mean, they're 6-1 in the Big East. They're 16-2. Put them up higher.
Christian.
Come on, committee.
Christian, time out. I'm very sorry to interrupt you, but Kansas City just went into field goal range with 3 seconds left, 36-33.
Right now, someone in the middle. Down the middle. Oh my goodness! It's going to be a 48-yard attempt.
Really? Wow.
Yep. 3 seconds left. The field goal kicker, he's out.
Hundreds of thousands around the planet.
Pause right here, and
it's good! It's going to overtime.
I am going to have to cut some of this out for sure. Oh, here we go. The kick is up, and we are going to overtime, folks.
Oh, man.
Wow.
What a game. What a game.
What a game. But anyways, continue, Christian.
One thing I thought was pretty nice, Patrick Mahomes has 69 yards rushing.
Nice. By the way, help us
Yeah.
get to 69 subscribers. That would be really nice if you get what I'm saying.
Subscribe. If you aren't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, come on, man. We got the best sports news. We got sports news for every team, even news that you may not care about. We got it. Please subscribe. And
Well,
NASCAR
speaking of
news too.
news,
We're gonna get back on that grind too.
Speaking of news, y'all probably don't know about, we got some more coming up in a little bit. But to finish off college basketball, just looking at some of the rankings, like Arizona is at number 3. I think that's pretty deserved. They moved up 3 spots and they're 14-1. Baylor fell down 4 spots to number 5 after their loss. I think Baylor lost to Oklahoma State last weekend, so they moved down 4 spots. But pretty much most of it's the same as it was last week. Loyola Chicago moved up to 22. And one big mover was Illinois, but I think they're going to go back down after their loss to Maryland. And that's all I got with college basketball.
I like to see Loyola Chicago being ranked.
Oh, but one thing I forgot to mention, in women's college basketball, there was a really big game and really big moment. She played for Kansas State, broke the record for most points scored in a Division I women's basketball game today. Ayoka Lee had 61 points for Kansas State in their win against number 14 Oklahoma, 94-65. She scored almost as much points as the Oklahoma team did. She's a 6'6" center for the Kansas State Wildcats, so that's pretty cool. So congrats to her. You know, we have to definitely put that in here.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Now, for some hockey news, we got a very, very crazy topic here. Or not crazy, but just something we don't see every day. So a hockey player in the American Hockey League, Krzysztof Harabik, was suspended 30 games for a racist gesture to another player. So he will be gone, and I'm glad he's getting the suspension he deserves. So that's quite crazy there. I had no clue about this until I was looking up the topics for today's video. But yeah, racist gestures are a no-no. So also in hockey, the Sidney Crosby ended up having a shootout win for the Penguins against the Jets today. So the Penguins are sort of getting back on track. They were like, we kind of like said, if you've been following us and listened to us since the beginning of the NHL season, the Penguins were really bad. They started the season horrible and they had a bunch of injuries, but they're starting to make a little bit of a comeback. So props to them. They've moved up to number 2 in the Metropolitan Division in the Eastern Conference. So the Penguins are on a roll right now. They're 26-5 with 57 points and are currently on a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah.
So the Eastern Conference, other than that, pretty much same as it was last week. Florida Panthers are still on top of the Eastern Conference in the NHL. There's the Lightning up there. Same thing, the Maple Leafs. Carolina Hurricanes fell to number 3. Penguins surpassed them. The Western Conference, almost the same as last week as well. And the team that's really on the move, other than the Penguins, is the Colorado Avalanche. They're on top of the Central Division. They're actually on a 6-game winning streak right now. They were like 4th in the Central Division last week, and they've moved up. They're 28-8-3 now. The Nashville Predators fell to 2. St. Louis fell to 3. And in the Pacific Division, the Anaheim Ducks are still 2nd behind the Golden Knights. But the Kings, I kind of mentioned this last week as well, the Kings have moved up to number 3 despite 3-game losing streak. So that's all I have in the NHL.
I must say, Crosby had scored a hat trick as well, I believe in that game or the game prior.
Yes, he did. He did.
But he's probably pissed off for not being an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he should have been in the All-Star. He's proven them wrong, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Gunsel is now, and Jari has made a big leap from what I've seen, but due to the fact of me living in Maryland, I cannot watch all the Penguins games, only when they come and play the Capitals.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the top plays, and if you have any more news, Mike, before we get into that, we have to talk a little bit about the 2022 Winter Olympics. And it's coming up quickly. It's coming up in the next couple of weeks, if I'm correct. And they're in Beijing, China. And one news, the snowboarding star, Shaun White, is confirmed to be on the USA team. So cool to see him back there. Now, there has been a lot of discussions about boycotts in the Winter Olympics. I know that a lot of officials, like government officials, are not going to it because they don't like how China treats their people. But we're not going to get into politics because this is a sports channel, not a politics channel. But
Yes.
There's a lot of drama going on with that, and a lot of ads. They're not promoting the Winter Olympics either. They've basically yeah, we're not going to promote it. Like Coca-Cola's one, Visa's another one. They decided to not advertise the Winter Olympics like they have been the last couple of years. And it's pretty crazy. A lot of sponsors are backing out of it because they're like, man, we don't want to have anything to do with China.
Right.
But that's all I got for the Winter Olympics. Maybe once they start, we'll get more into the Winter Olympic news. But that's all I got for that.
Yep. So coming in for the top 10 plays of the week, we got number 10, Russell Westbrook's dunk on Rudy Gobert.
Now, their bench is just 2 out of 12 from beyond the arc.
Russ! Throw it down! Throw it down, Russ! Down the middle he goes!
Then he gets a technical for taunting. I mean, he looked back at Rudy Gobert and had some words. That was some play. That's what Russ has been known for doing, though. Getting into the paint and then exploding. Did he ever explode over the top of Gobert?
That was a really insane play. But at number 9, we got Christian Wood's logo 3-point buzzer beater.
I think he got it off in time! I think he got it off in time! Oh my goodness! Christian!
Which definitely was better. Roll it.
In at number 8, Jacob Toppin 360 dunk.
At number 7, we got another Steph Curry step back buzzer beater.
They got Curry. He checked it. Steph for the win. Yes, sir! His 8th career game winner. We got to get out of here. That step back is killer.
This time it was a 2. In at number 6, John Morant, John Wall style 360 layup.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, you can make a case. Wow, what timing for him to make that move. It's off. John Morant's day right here. Up, spin.
I can see John Morant's taking after him quite well. And moving in at number 5, we got Sayed Nurmagomedovic's last minute
Nurmagomedov.
submission. How do you pronounce it again?
Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, that was a great production because I had no idea how to say that.
Hey, I probably even butchered it. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, no relation to Khabib there. He did a submission within less than a minute, as you probably saw. Link is in the description because the UFC will block us. In at number 4, Chucky Hepburn half-court buzzer beater.
And now Hepburn from half court, and it counts. Chucky Hepburn sends Wisconsin into the locker room with a 4.
At number 3, we got Evan McPherson's game-winning field goal to send the Bengals to the conference championship.
52-yarder. Sweeps the leg. McPherson. He's got it. Cincinnati wins.
And at number 2, Robbie Gould game-winning field goal to send the 49ers to the conference championship.
Kick was down the middle and good! 49ers win it!
And at number 1, we got the 49ers blocked punt, which tied the game late in the fourth quarter and gave the 49ers another hope to win the game, which they did, and sent them to the NFC Championship game.
Each of the last 3 games, and it's blocked. Up into the air and spinning inside the 10. Picked up and a touchdown. Hufanga got the return for the touchdown after the block by Jordan Willis, and the special teams. It's been a problem for Green Bay all season long. Breaks down here with under 5 to go, and we're an extra point away from a tie game.
Wow. Here they come, and there's the hand on it by Willis. Number 94, he's able to get right through the middle. What a job by him, and then Hufanga is able to pick it up and score. Kicking game is what we talked about coming in.
And that will wrap up the top 10.
Yeah, and that's going to close the episode out too. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
See y'all.
You only calling 9, you wanting what I think.